Jon and I have always had a different type of relationship. As I arrived at the hotel at the press conference for our fight, I ran into Jon. You know, he walks up, he's got sunglasses on inside, reaches over and introduces himself. Listen, I don't want to be a guy that judges, but only two types of people wear sunglasses inside. Either you're blind or you're just an asshole. Finally, it was time for the face-offs. I walked onto the stairs and I was thinking one thing. If there's one thing I don't go for in my life, it is another man putting his forehead on my forehead. It can't happen. And as I walked up to Jon, there is a massive amount of armpit sweat busting through my shirt. And Jon does the one thing, his forehead, it makes contact with my forehead. I immediately push Jon right around the shoulder neck area. Jon immediately drops the belt and I start to think it's go time. But there is going to be a guy that is going to stop this fight. Unfortunately, that guy was the head of the UFC PR department, Mr. David Schaller. If you could imagine a 10-year-old kid trying to stop Jon Jones and I from fighting, that's what Dave Schaller looked like. Jon completely ran over Schaller. The look of terror on his face has been made into countless memes over the course of time. As Schaller goes flying, Jon throws the biggest right hand at me. I duck thinking I'm about to take him down. I shoot, but instead of shooting on Jon, I take down the head of security from the UFC. We go flying off the backdrop. As I'm falling, I look behind me, and there is Jon Jones still standing. I'm like, well, I just made a mistake. Jon jumps off of the stage on top of me. We are both now laying on top of Joe. Joe's the name of the security guy from the UFC. And Jon starts to try to wail down punches on me. Security pulls me away from Jones. All I want is to get back to Jon Jones. Well, that ain't happening because all the security guards are around me. So I proceed to reach down, grab my shoe, a very expensive shoe for that matter, and chunk it towards Jon. Unfortunately, it hit this nice lady that is a reporter for one of the biggest Brazilian outlets in the world. Everybody was just lost. Jon's on stage screaming and yelling like a lion in the jungle. I'm literally shaking, screaming at him to fight more. When Jon and I fought in January of 2015, we both knew that was not the end of our story. We are forever tied together. It's a beautiful love story that will never end. It is a tale of two individuals who always want to be touching, but touching in the most brutal, violent ways. Tune in to see two of the best fighters in the world tangle and watch me retain my UFC Light Heavyweight Championship.